So last night, Oklahoma City took a 2-0 lead. And stop me if you heard this before, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dominant, not just from the two, but also from the one, from the free throw line. What do you make? 13 out of 15 free throws. Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, unavailable post-game. Obviously, considering all the hype and the desire to be kind of the next dude, has not yet looked like the next dude in these last two games. But I think here's the distinction that people need to make. Right? This is a real thing. So when you go on social media, you'll get people who will say, who are, and look, full disclosure, I have numerous friends in the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. And honestly, I think they do a great job. And I love watching this team play. But there's no, there just isn't a world in which we somehow deny that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a free throw merchant of the highest variety, right? And he's a good one. And oh yeah, by the way, he's also taking advantage of how the game is officiated now, as opposed to how it used to be officiated. And here's what but here's the special distinction. Okay. Like I will see on social media, people say, Michael Jordan shot 9 more free throws a game. And he probably did. Remember when Michael Jordan played and they played the Detroit Pistons in what was called the Jordan rules, they would pummel him when he'd go to the basket. They would intentionally foul him because up until his first championship run, he didn't trust his teammates. He wouldn't pass on that penetration. He'd try and win it on his own. And so, yeah, he shot a lot of free throws. Michael Jordan shot a lot of free throws. Michael Jordan got calls. There's no question. The difference in Jordan, Bird, Magic, even Kobe, okay, was what they didn't do was like this next step. It started with Harden with throwing the head back, but Shai he falls down. I mean, in game one, how many times did he fall down? And it's interesting. Like if you love him, people are like, oh, he keeps getting fouled. If you hate him, you're like, dude, he falls down more than Joel Embiid, who falls down a lot. But now he's gotten caught, and he's great at this, at locking in his arm inside somebody else's arm who's guarding them. So contact is made, and then throwing his hand up and his arm up and his head back and getting a foul. Like he is a Picasso at being a foul garnering artiste. He's a Picasso. He does it better than anybody else. But it's really hard to sit there and go like, I love watching this march to the free throw line. And I understand you could sit there and, again, go Jordan and Bird and all these guys. They used to go to the free throw line. There were more of the spectacular variety plays because they weren't going free throw line or pivot, mid-range pull up, really close to. It's like talking out of both sides of your mouth when you say he's an amazing, amazing player. James Harden's an amazing player. And in many ways, James Harden's a better player in his prime than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, because Harden had some of the same foul drawing abilities, only he was an elite passer, and he's a good passer. There's nothing's truly special about him as a passer. Nothing truly special about him as a three-point shooter. He's unbelievable mid-range and 6 feet in. It seems like he never misses. And then he has the ability to draw fouls. He's the best of these free throw merchants. But if you just throw out raw stats and you go, hey, MJ, I mean, again, the difference would be Michael Jordan was driving into a lane where there were two guys, and yeah, sometimes there were phantom calls, no question. But what he wasn't doing was he wasn't locking up somebody else's arm, driving to the basket, and then all of a sudden releasing the arm and flailing back and falling down at the second of releasing the basketball in order to gain a foul. Like that's just, he didn't do it. So I get what the stats look like, but you can't fool the hardcore basketball fan. and as likable, hell, as lovable as he is, right? Like, dude gets up there, and I don't know what it is about Oklahoma City guys, but when they win the MVP, they always just say the right thing. Go back to Russell. Russell Westbrook was the the basketball is my only friend type deal, but Kevin Durant talked about his mom being the real MVP, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander talked about his wife. It was beautiful. Like, this is not an indictment on him, the person. It's not really an indictment on him, the player. It's an indictment on where we've gotten to in an effort to make the game more offense friendly. The offense gets to dictate contact and all these other things. And now we've gotten to the place where the offense will intentionally make not just contact, but grab the defender in an effort to act like they're being grabbed. And yeah, I don't know how much you guys watched last night, but there was a point in the game where, one of the Timberwolves players just pushed him. And then when they're jawing back and forth in the lane, he's like, hey, stop flopping, bro. Stop flopping. You know? And look, the story to Oklahoma City is they're playing more of a college style defense, right? Really, really pressuring the basketball. And that's the other thing, right? So we're not allowed to get anywhere near Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We put our hands anywhere near him. He grabs them and acts like, which you're allowed to do. We teach our guys to do that. Hey, somebody puts their hand on you, it's your hand. But you go from that to the other end where Oklahoma City's playing super physical on the ball defensively. And then what's called a loaded up defense, just feet and hands and bodies as much in the paint. So you're playing 1-on-5 or at least 1-on-2 more than 1-on-1. There's just no spacing there like it is against other teams. It's a better coached defensive team that is daring you to make skip passes and skip passes into drives or skip passes into jump shots. And the Timberwolves aren't doing it. But the juxtaposition of how the game is officiated at each end, and again, a lot of it is style. Oklahoma City, they do what Rick Pitino's teams have famously done, which is they foul on every play with the idea that you can't call them all. It's an unwatchable game if you call a foul on every possession. So if you have greater depth than everybody else, you get up in them. One, once you establish contact, they don't usually call contact fouls. Two, if you do get into foul trouble, you got the numbers to withstand a little foul trouble. And three, there's it's not just style, it's they're playing at home and the place is getting crazy, but they're also playing help-oriented defense. So even if you go by the guy that has his hands on you, they're forcing you to make that next pass. But it's really interesting that you're watching Shai and how he plays. And, I was at Game 7. I shared this on my show. It's Doug Gottlieb in for Colin. This is The Herd, Fox Sports Radio, iHeartRadio app. I went to Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Thunder. And I wasn't, the crowd is incredible, right? It really is like a college crowd. People ask, what was it so cool about playing at Oklahoma State when you were there? That's what the crowd was like every night. Unbelievable. But I'm standing in front of some guy who behind me, every time Jokic draws a foul, he's like, free throw merchant. You're like, well, I get it. Jokic does draw fouls and does throw his hands into people and do all kind of the classic ways to draw fouls. But you do know that Shai is like, if there's different rankings or different chess pieces, if Jokic is the king, then he's the queen. If Jokic is the queen, then he's the king of free throw merchantry. And I don't know if there's a cottage industry of free throw merchantry or if you need a bachelor's or master's degree, but he's got a doctorate. But it makes it really, really hard. And it's also one of those things where the difference between now and the Jordan era is HGTV, 4K, and how good the replays are, where you're sitting there going like, yeah, I don't think he was actually touched. And yet he fell down. Look, if the Thunder win the title, it probably doesn't matter. But this does feel like, do you guys remember when Dwayne Wade and the Dallas Mavericks beat the excuse me, Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat beat the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals, and it was just a constant march to the free throw line where it almost felt predetermined that the NBA wanted to make Dwayne Wade a star. I don't think that's what happened. I think again, it's just adjusting the rules. And you're sitting there going, hey, the offensive player has all the benefits of these rules. So much so now that Shai is actually creating the contact, grabbing the other player, locking up his arm, and then making it out as if that arm is grabbing him. This is, yesterday we talked about the tush push still being allowed. They've gotten away from guys just throwing back their head. And now Shai has taken it to another level where he kind of falls to the side and is constantly making faces and noises, even when he's not getting touched. I do wonder what adjustment they can make in terms of stylistically or rules wise or emphasis wise in officiating in the future. It is that widely discussed. And I think it's because he's the best at it. He's the MVP. It's obvious what he's doing.